All right, my name is Matt. I'm one of the co-founders of Xobni. The goal of Xobni is to organize your personal information centered around relationships and communication. And our first platform is a plugin to Microsoft Outlook. Let's take a tour. This is what we call the living room. This is where we hang out for meetings, movie nights. Don't show the investors the 50-inch plasma. We got a lot of room to grow. We got the full floor here. So we could probably fit about 20 people. Right now we're sitting at 8 people total. Let's go see some people. All right, in here, this is one of the developer layers. We've got Amir and Gabor.
Say hi, guys. Hello.
I was just, visiting these guys earlier. In here, we've got Greg, and he sits with my co-founder, Adam.
We're getting married next year. I don't think the camera will get that.
Back here, we've got Skylar, who's working on our support and beta feedback.
I think we should talk about his chair. It's a bull.
He stole that from me, actually. And in here, we've got Brian, who does a lot of our web dev and marketing stuff.
Brian, can we have a demonstration of the desk?
Sure.
Apparently you can get this stuff in IKEA. I don't even believe it.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
Discontinued.
Did you buy all of them?
Just this one.
This is where you
Yeah, that's my desk. The fanciest of them all.
the food?
Ah, cool. So we'll go through our intimidating conference room. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs,
Any
Jerry
secrets?
Yang have all been here. Whoa!
Are there any secrets? on
No,
it?
there's no secrets on that. Our kitchen isn't glamorous, but it's full of stuff, so we keep a lot of food on site, bring in lunch and dinner every day. Actually, it's a good point to bring up. We're hiring, so happy to have software developers send us their email or their resumes at jobs@xobni.com. Oh, Xobni's the word inbox spelled backwards. We didn't say that yet. All right, cool.
Today I am with two of the co-founders of Xobni and their first employee. Why don't you guys introduce yourself and just say a bit about what Xobni does?
My name is Gabor. I'm the VP of Engineering here. Xobni is a new way to look at your email, search it, and navigate through it.
My name is Matt, and Adam and I co-founded the company together.
Hello.
You guys recently did your launch in TechCrunch 40 and were the second place runners in that. Can you talk a bit about how that went and what exactly you launched with?
I think every blogger out there except Arrington thought we should have taken the prize. And I think he's just got a thing against Microsoft. So that's kind of what happened with that. But it was a great platform to launch the company. We let users in for about 12 hours. Got a couple thousand users in, then we shut it off, and that's who we've been iterating with for the last couple weeks. They've been really great. The feedback's been awesome. The response on the web has been fantastic. And so the next step is to open it up to allow our beta users to start inviting their friends. Things are going well.
You did get a lot of coverage on the web and stuff. What do you think was behind this? Is it mainly because the product was so good, or did you think TechCrunch 40 really helped out?
I would say, and I don't know if you guys want to answer something on this, but I would say that the biggest thing is that there's just a really big pain in people's email right now, and so people are searching for a solution. And we've been kind of talking about what we were going to do with email for a year and a half, and so we've built, maybe a small following. And I think combining those things, which is a strong community and a big pain point, it kind of creates the upwelling in the blogosphere that kind of drove us to this point.
So your initial kind of product is called Xobni Insight, is that correct?
Yeah.
That's mainly based on Microsoft Outlook. So Have you got fears that they'll make it so yours doesn't work, or they'll do something like just copy it?
You want to tell him?
No, go ahead. No, like, well, I'm just gonna step out. Like, you guys can handle it. You guys are big boys.
So not really huge fears, actually. I think we're definitely solving a pain point for a lot of users, and for Microsoft to turn that off, frankly, I don't think we're right now big enough to really be a harm to Microsoft in any way, and we're really solving the problem for the users, so there's no reason to shut us off. And I think we're going to expand beyond Microsoft Outlook to other email clients in sort of medium-term future. So we'll be beyond that.
They would also have hell to pay in the blogosphere if they did something like that, because we've got a lot of happy users. And they've been great to us. We talked to the Outlook people, and they're supportive.
In terms of your background, the company's been going 1.5 years now. How did you guys kind of come together, and how did this kind of idea spring up?
So Adam, who just left to go back to work, motivated guy, was doing his master's thesis at MIT. He was looking for a really large data set that hadn't been mined, and he said, "How many kilobytes of data have I put up on the web versus how many kilobytes of data have I sent in email?" And the latter's quite at a large advantage there, and it hasn't been really touched. And so he started with that idea, and that was the general premise. And he applied to Y Combinator, and they were like, "Yeah, you should do something around email." And he called me up and said, "Matt, come up to Cambridge. Let's do this company."
He flirted with you for weeks and weeks.
For weeks. Initially, I was like, no, I'll introduce you to some other people. I do more hardware stuff. He says, "No, come do this with me." And so we cranked on it, did Y Combinator, raised some angel funding, cranked on it for about a year, and then brought in our current investors, and finally got Gabor to move over from Germany, or from Switzerland. We've been hounding him for about 6 months to quit Google and come join us.
Cool. And how did that funding process go? I know you've put up some blog posts about the whole process, and given that you were new to it, how was it? Do you think it was relatively easy in this climate?
I think the climate's even better now than when we raised, and we also made the mistake of kind of doing it over the Christmas holiday, which is a complete mistake. So you had all the VCs and angels kind of went on vacation, everything died down, and then we had to ramp up the interest again. So our fundraising process for the Series A really extended across like 5 months, which is really long. Mm-hmm. And again, I know I could go do it in 6 weeks. So one of the mistakes was doing it over Christmas, but we're really happy with the people we got involved. Vinod Khosal's a legend. He led the round. He's really forward-thinking and thinks really big picture, and I think he's going to be a great asset to us. We also got first-round capital involved, and they're the masters of dealing with young companies like us. Ron Conway and those guys are legends, and they know everybody and keep us in the loop. And another investor we're really excited about, there's a lot of investors we're excited about, but one is having Zenstrom involved, because he's done something like what we were trying to do, which is get a downloadable application to millions and millions of users, and that's a unique skill set. So we're pretty happy with the group.
And how much do the investors kind of get involved on a day-to-day kind of basis? We talk to our board members multiple emails a day, maybe a phone call, and a meeting every 3 days or something like that. It's quite a bit. What is it like going from kind of running your own show to having them kind of help out? I know, is it more helpful? Obviously, you're going to say yes, it is helpful, but what is that like, the difference?
Do you think it's, I don't know, Gabor, do you think, I always feel like we're running our own show. I mean, they don't really get involved in that way. They get involved where we need them. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, and some of our investors, especially those who have been in a similar situation, like Paul Buchheit, who created Gmail, we actually drive down to him in Palo Alto and show him the product and tell him, what do you think? And he goes I don't like this, and you need to change color, and this and this and this is wrong. And we've had a lot of very valuable feedback from these guys because they've been there and they've done all this. So that's very useful. It's very useful to have investors who've been in a similar situation as you have.
Actually, that's one of the things I would say to other people that are deciding which investors to choose or to work with, I'd say the best investors are going to be guys who have founded at least one company. They're even better if they've founded multiple companies. They have the best answers to the questions. They're more trusting of you because they used to be like you. So I think that's something important to look for.
So email is obviously very important to many big companies, and everyone's kind of trying to attack it in some way or another, including many startups. So how do you kind of perceive competition coming up, and are you worried about anyone in particular?
Not any one in particular. I think we're in a unique space because we're attacking Outlook, which most people think is boring and old school. But it happens to be one of the places where it's the biggest pain and the most valuable users. So that actually excites us.
And the most valuable users with business credit cards that they can swipe to pay us.
So that kind of stuff excites us. I think some of the big players are catching on. But I guess I said to you a little bit earlier, they're kind of like a big tanker ship going through the ocean, really hard to turn. And I think we're pretty akin to a dolphin. We can turn on a dime. So I'm not super worried about them. There's other startups that are doing stuff in the space, and I think there's opportunity for all of us. I think messaging is the most important use of the internet.
A lot of people now use kind of webmail, especially with Gmail kind of coming up. How do you, if a lot of people move on to webmail, how do you see yourself kind of building on other people's platforms, because most of them aren't open? Or do you think Outlook's kind of here to stay for a while?
I think they're going to open up, and Outlook's here for quite a while in the future. I mean, some people out there are still running Outlook 2000 or Outlook XP, which are 5 and 7 years old, respectively. So it's here to stay.
Yahoo's got a mail API, so we actually have a basic integration with that working. It's not anywhere near release ready, and we're trying to decide where to spend our resources. But and the other thing is, who says there's not a Xobni webmail down the road? We'll see.
And you can always just pop down or access the email in those webmail clients in some other way, like scrape the data, or use POP3 or IMAP and so on. So there's always a way to get to the data and pull it to us. Hopefully we won't have to do that, and there's going to be APIs, but there's no guarantees.
Yeah. There's been kind of a lot of kind of the sentence where Xobni is like social networking for email. Can you kind of add to how exactly it is that, and how it's going to go forward to become that more? So
for anybody who hasn't seen the product, I'll explain real quickly what we do. We insert a sidebar inside Microsoft Outlook, and when you select the message from Gabor, we show you a profile of your interactions with that person. So we're showing you an auto-generated profile based on existing data. You don't have to go and enter, well, Gabor knows Adam. We know that because he's been CC'd on messages. And you don't have to go and say, Gabor doesn't have to go and enter his phone number because it's been in his email signature. We automatically extract that. So we build these profiles about the people you interact with. And that's kind of like exposing the latent social network of email. We've got users who are actually using a social network as a utility beyond Facebook, maybe, which is just for dating and finding parties. One woman who does insurance sales, she looks at a message from somebody, and she can quickly see everybody in her organization that's touched that person through email. So she knows, okay, they've talked to somebody. She's the one that did our health insurance. So she did our health insurance. She knows that the person who did our D&O insurance has talked to us, and the person who did our liability insurance has talked to us. And before, she would have had to go and ask those people. It wouldn't have been exposed. So it's kind of a utilitarian social network, which is pretty cool.
So none of you guys are actually in San Francisco. I mean, from San Francisco. Oh, by the way, we're in San Francisco. So how come you moved here, and what is kind of the attraction for the valley and the outskirts for you guys?
We can both. I'll say why we moved the company here, and then Gabor will have a good answer for why he moved here. We started the company in Cambridge with Y Combinator, and we had heard people saying it's better in California. And we were talking to a couple of VCs there, and they kind of seemed old and slow. Sorry, guys. And so we just sent out an email to 10 great entrepreneurs, Joel Spolsky, Joe Kraus, just a whole, Chris Dixon, who did Site Advisor, this whole group, and 8 out of 10 responses came back and said it would have a multiplicative effect on your business if you moved to San Francisco. So within like 2 days, Adam and I had his Toyota Avalon packed up with our computers and our clothes and drove out here. And it was the best decision. I realized how powerful being closely, connected to a community is. I mean, right now we're 3 blocks away from the Web 2.0 Summit. That's a big deal, And I guess Gabor has his reasons as well.
Yeah, so I was previously in Switzerland, in Zurich, which isn't exactly known as the startup capital of the world. And I was always very interested in startups, and I was working for Google there, where they have their European engineering headquarters with about 300 engineers. And I was shuttling back and forth between here and Mountain View, and I guess Silicon Valley is just where the action is, and this is where you have to be, and this is where all the big players in email are. And I was always very interested in email, and I felt that Xobni was a great opportunity, and came here.
How often do you guys wake up at night with the idea about Xobni?
Wake up with like an email idea.
Yeah.
So I keep my Palm phone next to me at all times. It's the last thing I do before I go to bed. It's the first thing I do when I wake up.
The dreaded Matt has an idea email.
And so I'll just shoot out ideas in emails. That's the only way I can fall asleep, because if I don't get it off my mind, I can't sleep. So we have new ideas every day.
All right, cool. Well, nice meeting you guys, and I wish you luck in the future.
Appreciate it.